we're talking about what? Oh, well, sister, you're going to get the last half of this recording because I didn't press record. Thank you, Ashley, for that. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the middle of Travel Talks Tuesday on a Wednesday. I'm your host, Freddie Taylor, CEO and founder of Urban Intellectuals. We are talking about traveling to the motherland, traveling to the continent, but we're answering an important question today. What's the weather like? What should I pack? And I'm pretty sure that you're going to have a couple of other questions, right? That you're wondering, but I really want to address that hurdle that some people experience. So let's dive into it a little bit. First of all, I want you to remember something. Only Erica's ready to go to the continent. Come on, Erica. We can go together, right? First of all, I want you to remember Africa is the second largest continent on the planet, right? It's not a country, it's a continent with 54 recognized countries. I love to dive into why it's 54, where that came from. That's another conversation. Come to our events, our symposiums, and we'll definitely dive into that information. But there are 5 regions, which is Northwest, East, Central, and Southern region. You can see them denoted by color here. But it's a big place. That's really what we're getting at with this. Africa is huge, right? It's very large. But it is very diverse, but it's a beautiful experience for sure. What are the regions? Excuse me. Not only what are the regions, but what areas do we specifically as an organization travel to in the various regions, right? So during our Sankofa experiences, in the North region, we go to Egypt and Morocco. So we knock down both of those. Morocco is more like north center. Egypt is more northeast. And yes, Egypt is in Africa, by the way. I don't know. I've seen a lot of miseducation being spread out there. West Africa, right? And Egypt is the result, right? That ancient history that we love to dig into is the result of Black African people, not the current modern day Egyptians that live there in that area now, right? How did they get there? Where did they come from? What year did all of this transpire? What was happening in the region and the area? Those are more conversations that I love to have here at Urban Intellectuals, right? So we'll do that another time as well. But we go to West Africa. We go to Nigeria and the Ivory Coast. We go to Ghana. We go to Senegal and the Gambia. So those are our West African countries that we visit, that we tour. In East Africa, we go to Ethiopia, Kenya, and Tanzania. While you're in Tanzania, you actually get to hop into the Tanzanian island of Zanzibar during that trip as well. On Southern Africa, we go to South Africa, right? So that's our African agenda as we currently stand. Let's jump into the climate. Again, this is a diverse continent, right? So a lot is going on in the continent when it comes to the weather. The North region up there that you see is a warm desert climate. It's a desert, right? The Saharan desert is a real thing. And it carries its own climate rules, right? So we have to learn and follow more about that. West Africa more falls in the tropical savanna climate or equatorial climate because it's so near the equator. And we're going to go through the temperatures as well. So 1 second on that. I know you're like, hey, what's these temperatures look like? But notice South Africa down there towards the bottom has vastly different. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but South Africa down here is vastly different, has a cold desert climate at times, so it can get chilly, right? So Africa is generally warm, generally hot, but certain areas at certain times can get a little cool, right? Particularly at night. That definitely happens in Morocco and Egypt as well. But here's a better look. Other than Morocco and Egypt, which I can tell you a little bit about their temperatures, right, that are warmer. So this is the mean outdoor temperature and the minimum outdoor temperature for these areas, right? So the mean is the average, right? For my math geniuses out there, mean means average. So the average temperatures in these areas during these times. And then the minimum, like what are the lows looking like, right? So generally, and I listen, I just wanted to be honest with you. I can't convert the Celsius scale like off the top of my head. I don't know. I don't know how many of y'all can. I'm not one of those people. So I found a conversion chart for the rest of us out here so that we can get an understanding. So when you're seeing the reds, right, that means excuse me, the mean, the average. I'm gonna use average. The average temperature during these areas is, like 100 degrees, right? When you're seeing under over 30, in the 90s and hundreds of degrees, right? So you're seeing that in April, in the region of Senegal, Ghana, Nigeria is in this area. It's a little bit, so it's going to be warmer during those times. January is generally a bit cooler, but you can see towards October things start to heat up in the region and the area as well. But Eastern Africa is generally a bit milder, except for again in that April climate. But if you come down here, you can see that it gets chilly. It might get chillier at night. So we're looking at the light blues in the west. So 10, 11 degrees Celsius. So you're looking at 50s and 60s, right, at night. So even in West Africa and East Africa, it can get a bit chilly at night, depending on the time of year that you're there, right? In the north, in Egypt and Morocco, it's generally super hot in October. In that particular area is hot. It gets chilly and colder in late January and February region, which is a time period that we travel to these areas. And going into March, it starts to heat up again as well. So they're almost like off on the calendar, right? With the United States, it's hot when it's hot, cold here. It might be hot there. When it's hot here, it's chillier there, right? So those things kind of switch. But hopefully I gave you a little bit more insight into kind of what the weather's like. And then if you have any specific questions, we can look those up and talk through those as well. So what should you pack for the weather? Everybody that travels with us will get this list, our packing list. So this is our complete packing list. You don't have to worry about, seeing as soon as you sign up, we get this information out to you and all of that. But I'll try. Can I make it bigger? It won't work that way. Trying to let you see a little bit more. But stay on our email list and stuff like that, and we'll share this information with you. But some of the basic stuff you definitely gonna want, like whatever you're comfortable with traveling with, because the flights are a bit longer, right? I see. I guess I said that facetiously, right? The flight is longer, right? It's going to be a longer travel experience, so you want to make sure that you're comfortable on the plane. I like to travel in sweats, or longer clothes and materials. I like to be warmer because sometimes the airplanes can get really chilly. And if you wear like a long sleeve over it or got a jacket or a sweater, you can always put that on. But on these international flights, you're generally given blankets, right? Blankets and pillows to make sure that you're comfortable. I don't know if you need to download your movies for your iPad. I'm a reader. I love to read on the bus. Of course, don't forget, on the plane. Of course, don't forget your passports, your visas, and all of that stuff, your credit cards. We recommend you travel with credit cards. I think that that's an interesting discussion to have too. At credit cards over debit cards. And the reasoning for that is it's easy. If something happens, somebody gets a hold of your card, you feel there's some felonious charges on there, you can generally get your money back faster with credit cards than debit cards, right? I don't understand why. I know it's your money is your money, but traveling with credit cards is generally better. The American Express card isn't as so widely accepted in Africa as they always claim, right? It's all over the place. So a Visa or a MasterCard is probably the preferred thing. Generally, when you're at the hotels and stuff like that, they do accept the Amex is there, but most of the locations accept Visa and MasterCard pretty much around the continent. We definitely want to be safe. You definitely want to bring well, you don't got to really worry about the water bottles and stuff like that. You can fill them up, but we're generally be drinking bottled water when we're on the continent as well. Toiletries, you want to bring all of your stuff, right? Listen, Africa's different, right? I just want to be straight with y'all. Africa is different, right? Like sometimes you get the toiletry stuff, sometimes you don't, right? Like I don't know what I don't understand. I don't understand what's happening there, but I like to be prepared, right? So I bring my own stuff. Make sure I have it all the way down to, I see Ashley got it on here, a washcloth, right? So if you're used to using the washcloth, bring your own, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get one. You're going to get the longer medium towel, like the medium length towel, which is fine. You can, bathe yourself. But that's usually the hand towel, right? The longer one that we hang and you dry your hands on it. Those are generally given as washcloths, right? So I like to bring my own washcloths when I travel to the continent. I'm learning more and more places around the world. That's the thing, right? So I guess us using washcloths is something different. You're gonna want to have your adapter, right? I forget what they're called, and I know, Ashley, we have a link to our like Amazon page that we're building out to have all of this stuff laid out. But they don't use the same plug-in currency system that we use, right? So you're going to need an adapter that's going to change, that's going to allow your 2-prong to go into their 3-prong holes. And I want you to be cautious of the what is it called? Like the speed at which their outlets work, right? Like, so, like if you plug in your shavers, right? I see the brother on here, right? Like if you figure you're going to shave there, you plug your clippers in, the amperage that comes out of there might be too high for your clippers. So it could actually burn them out. I've had that happen. So now I try to travel with cordless, shaving equipment. So something that I don't have to plug in, because I noticed that I don't have to plug in while it's running, right? I can set it on the basic and charge, and that's it. But then while I'm using it, I can detach it, and I don't have to be involved in their currency system. So I would imagine the hair dryers or stuff like that. That's something that you want to be cognizant of. You want to think about it going in. Some of my favorite clippers, man, I burnt them up because I didn't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. But as soon as you turn it on, you're going to hear that sound. You're going to be like, that sound ain't right, right? You'll turn that off. So that's something to really think about. I think about, I know, Ashley, on this next one, you have some images. Yeah, but you definitely want to bring a jacket. Definitely want to have something to cover up just in case it gets a little bit chilly. Again, depending on what time of year. When I'm in West Africa, I like to be covered up. So I'm wearing long sleeves. I'm wearing pants. I got my socks on, don't got my toes out. Why? Because we're thinking about the mosquitoes, right? We're thinking about yellow fever. We're thinking about malaria, which you should take yellow fever shots. So you should be good for that going into West Africa and into these countries. You only need that for Nigeria and Ghana, by the way. But they have malaria pills or whatever, but I try not, right, to get bit, right? So I want to stay covered. I got a hat on, and of course, I'm wearing my mosquito repellent, right? So I'm definitely using all of that. We haven't had anyone fall ill yet, knock on wood, as they say. But that possibility is out there. So we rather you be prepared than anything. And you definitely want comfortable shoes, right? Like we'll have a dress up night. We can get clean, at the dinners. But you definitely, while we're out and about, no matter where you are on the continent, there's some movement, right? We're going to see things. We're walking, sometimes uphill. Ghana, I know we literally climb like a little baby mountain, right? You don't have to take all of the activities, by the way, but you definitely want to make sure that you are comfortable, right? R220s. Yeah, no, I should have looked at the amperage, Eric, because then I got to think about it. It's higher amperage. That's why you get the converter, but sometimes the converter doesn't seem to work all the time, right? And maybe I'm buying the wrong one. Maybe I need to upgrade or something along that nature. But that's something I don't know what our amperages is here. That's why I'm hesitant to tell you it's 220. I know it's higher there, so it's higher for sure, right? But yeah, you want to make sure that you're comfortable at all times. Sunglasses. Let me go back to this list here. Sunglasses would be a nice addition because we're outside, you're looking at things. You're definitely going to be in the sun. Fanny packs, small backpacks are always great because you're tucking stuff in. I like to have, if you're like me, I wear cargo pants or cargo shorts almost every day, like where we go, because I want my passport on my body button up in one of my side pockets of my cargo pants, right? Like I don't leave without my passport. You know, I know people, they'll be, you know, you take the copy of your passport or whatever. I keep my passport on me at all times, and I'm not sharing it with, you know, just anybody, of course. Um, but having a little bag, having a Manny pack or whatever that you want to call them these days is always great so that you can have your hand sanitizer on you, bandages. If you're in Northern Africa, if you're in Morocco, you're in Europe, you're going to need toilet tissue. I know that sounds wild, right? But you're going to need toilet tissue. While we're out and about and we're stopping in some of these places, they're going to charge you for toilet tissue, right? So if you just bring your own, you make sure that you have it there. Water, water, water. We're definitely going to have all of the bottled water that you can take, and you definitely want to make sure that you're consuming it. I like to wear layers of clothing, even kind of like when it's hot, just in case you get a little sweaty, or if you get hot, you can always take things off. But if it gets chilly, if we go inside and the AC is on higher, I like to be able to put stuff on top of me. So if I don't have like my big backpack, I'll have a smaller backpack, and I might have something in there. Or you might see me with my jacket draped over my bag. If you've seen our videos, you'll see me walking like that a lot. I'm just trying to be as prepared as possible. Most of the places that we attend have pools. So if you know there's some downtime, you want to go swimming, you definitely can do that. There's workout centers and workout areas. So you can want to work, if you want to do some working out while you're there, you definitely want to make sure that you have that. That mosquito repellent is probably the most important one in Thailand, in the West Africa. Just trying to think what else is on here. Oh, carrying a portable charger. It's always a great idea. I love to have that charged up because sometimes when we're out away from the hotels, it's a long day, right? And you know, I don't know, you're out, and you know, you are definitely going to be there recording as much as you can, right? So that battery is going down. We might not be on the bus. They have outlets and stuff to charge on the bus, but if you're out and unfortunately your battery is going down, you want to be able to make sure that you can charge that up. I always think that's pretty important. I like this idea of an umbrella. I got to be honest, man, because sometimes when you're out there in that heat, if you can get a small portable umbrella, you will thank yourself. I'm turning into, my wife call them the rich aunties. I want that fan. I want that portable fan. I put that in my cart for Prime. I definitely want that portable fan, and you will definitely get some use at that. I've been quote unquote thugging it out. And let me tell you, it gets hot. It gets hot. Yeah, you want to carry your emergency contacts on you. Again, I like to tuck that into my passport, just in case, right? We want to be safe. We want to make sure that we are safe and okay. But if something happens, we need to make sure that we're reaching out to the right people. Just trying to think of what else is on here that's, I would say, is highly important. I love these suggestions though, Ashley. These are great. Slipper, pajama. Okay, yeah. Okay. I think I covered the major stuff. I'm wondering, I think we got room for questions here. I showed you that. Yeah. Are there any questions? Do you have anything specific that you're concerned about, or just any relevant question to travel in general, right? What's the difference between, good question, Brenda. Brenda inboxed me directly and said, what is the difference between Urban Intellectuals and Sankofa? Urban Intellectuals is our umbrella company, and we own Sankofa Experiences. The Sankofa Experiences is like our Black History flashcards. Have you ever seen that? It's like a product. So it's one of the things that Urban Intellectuals do, right? So we educate people with our products and services. So we have 18 physical products centered around Black history and culture. Our Black History flashcards are like our most known product. So if you've seen those, this is the same company and all of that, but we sold over 500,000 decks of them all over the world. We got games like Steam Bingo, where we infuse Black history and culture into that. We have playing cards. So we have a lot of different ways to interact with our history and our culture. We teach live Black history classes to children and adults. And then we take people on Black history travel experiences that we call the Sankofa experience. Is someone trying to ask the question? Oh, we just
What you
unmuted.
what you put?
Ashley, can you mute whoever that is? I can't see. Someone's unmuted. Can you please mute yourself? Everybody mute yourself. Ashley, is there a mass? There we go. That was weird. Okay, I haven't seen that before. All right, but what was I saying? Okay, urban intellectuals, yeah. So we teach live Black history classes to children, also to adults inside the organization, and then we take people on these Sankofa experiences, our Black history travel experiences. The word Sankofa literally means to go back and get it. Go back and get your history, go back and get your culture, and bring it forward with you into the future. So that's why we call these our Sankofa experiences. Good question. I was supposed to explain that too, so thank you for breaking that down. How much cash should we bring? That's a good question. It depends on your shopping, right? Like depends on your shopping habits. We recommend at least we normally recommend $300 to $500. So I'm just gonna bump that up a little bit and say $600 to $700. Excuse me, I bumped that up a lot. $400 to $600, right? So somewhere in there, about $500, I think you will be comfortable and you'll be good. We'll take you to the places for you to exchange your currency, so you make sure you're getting a good exchange rate and a safe environment, right? I think all of that is important. That's something that we're continuously concerned about. But you'll have an opportunity to also use your charge card in certain places, right? Like we will let you know if it's okay to use your charge card. Like for example, in the places that we'll shop in Egypt, right? We'll go into some businesses, some retail establishments. The government keeps tab on all of the retail establishments in the country, and they all have certain financial obligations. This is how they keep everything legal and up to par, right? And build confidence. Really, the backbone of it is making sure that you feel confident in using your charge card there in these establishments. Again, so the government certifies those, but we'll let you know when we're in those establishments, as opposed to we're walking to the Nile, getting ready to board the cruise or something, and people are out there selling wares on the street, right? You're not even pulling your wallet out in those situations, right? Like we're only going to be dealing with the local currency there. So we will let you know. And then you can obviously, inside the hotels that we're staying at, you can use your charge cards there and that stuff as well. So it'll be a mix, right? So you might decide you want to spend all cash and you bring more. You may decide, you know what, I'll bring a minimum amount of cash and then I'll shop in areas that I can swipe my card. If you bring so much cash and convert it, and you don't spend it all, you'll have an opportunity to reconvert to your home currency on the way out of the country as well. So that's good. Good question. All right, I saw that, got that. All right, any other questions? You can raise your Zoom hand and you can ask me verbally if you like, or you can drop them down in the comments. I want to remind you, tomorrow, again, we are doing our event, our info session to Senegal. So I want to invite you to that. You come on out tomorrow and you'll get a deep dive into Senegal specifically, and just talking about that trip and that experience, breaking down the days, breaking down the price of the investment and everything. Oh, Ashley, you're ahead of me. There we go. Thank you for dropping that down in the comments. Okay, I spoke to a friend that mentioned security guards that travel with them. Is this necessary? Do you have security? So when we're in, Brenda, good question. When we're in Egypt, you will have armed security, right? Is it necessary? Probably not. I think a lot of it, I'm just being honest, I think a lot of it is for show, right? And because, again, they're just trying to make sure that you feel confident, you feel secure while you're there. And I meant to mention this, good, I'm glad you asked that. When I was talking about the government basically validating the retail stores, right? all of this is done to instill confidence in travelers. Why? Because travel is the number one industry in Egypt. This is how the country eats, right? So this is mission critical that not only you come, nothing happens to you, you have an amazing time, but you feel safe, but you feel safe enough to go home to tell your friends and family, yeah, girl, this was a great trip. Oh yeah, nothing happened. It was great. They want to make sure everyone wants to make sure that you feel safe and you feel good because they want you to come back, right? Again, this is the number one industry in that country. Um, and that is you'll find that throughout the travels on the continent, right? And let's be clear. Everyone is aware that particularly America is telling you and the West is telling you that Africa is dangerous and Africa is horrible, right? I was just in Las Vegas and traveling and I was talking to some people and I was just mentioning about going to Morocco and like they asked some other stuff. I was like, oh yeah, I had been there. I was just coming from Senegal and they were like, it's not safe. It's not safe to travel over there. And I was like, well, I know who you've been listening to, right? Like I know where that sentiment comes from, but I've been a number of times and I've never had an issue. I'm not saying that the entire continent is safe, but we know that the entire United States is not safe. Right. I live in Illinois. I know there's areas here you better not go to, or at least I wouldn't go to. I don't know. Right. So that's that with that travel attitude, that's how we're going around the continent. We're not going into war zones. We're not going anywhere near them, right? Like stuff is going on the continent. And if something were to occur in a particular area before we got there, we're not going, right? Like I don't want to put you at risk. I might be on a trip. I don't want to put me at risk, my family, friends. Like, no, we're not going, right? Like, and yes, you'll get a refund. Like if the trip is canceled, absolutely, right? But we're not going to put ourselves in harm's way. No way. I love the continent. I want you to have that experience, but I don't love it that much. Right. Like, it ain't that cool, right? Like it's cool, but it ain't that cool. So yeah, so that's a good question. But yeah, but travel security is a heightened issue around the country, around the continent. Here I go, call it in the country, around the continent, again, because travel is an important industry there. And man, as much as like you gotta think from the perspective of people who some people who have never left a home country, right? Just thinking about the cost and of the tours, of the trips, right? And the flight and the hotels and all of this. There, people are usually amazed. They're like, you came here just for a vacation? Like that concept it's like kind of weird. Like I was in London and this woman couldn't believe that like we just flew over to kind of just have the experience. It's just like that concept is like a Western thing. That's kind of like what I'm getting at, right? So when you come over there, yes, they look at you like you rich, right? But no one is trying to attack you. And take your money. They are trying to sell you things, though, right? Like they are trying to that when you see people walking through the streets and like there's shops and people selling and carrying stuff everywhere they go. Yes, that is a reality. That is what's going on. And negotiating and bartering is important, but this is how they're feeding their families, right? We do encourage you to not pack a savior mentality, right? One, they don't want you to save them. They ain't looking, nobody's looking to be saved, right? They're looking to provide a service, a product, or something in exchange for, creating value in exchange for money, right? They're not looking for handouts. And then two, we try to remind you that you ain't got enough money to save a continent, right? So don't bring that savior mentality. Enjoy the people, respect the people, enjoy the culture, learn about it, taste the foods, dance with them, enjoy. If you want to leave a tip, hey, if the spirit moves you, but you don't got to be dropping $100 tips, right? Like you listen, don't, right? One, you pull out too much money, too many people are going to flock to you and try to sell you stuff. That's why we go through cultural trainings before you go. So we'll have all these conversations leading up, right? Just in case you've never been, it's like you walk into a spot in America. You don't want to pull out all your money, right? Like, hey, nothing should happen, but like, let's not tempt fate. Right? Like, let's be easy. Let's have a system, a plan. You know, you pull out a couple of dollars here, and then get what you need. Right? Okay. All right. Any other questions that y'all might have? Anything on your mind while I'm here? I'm about 42 minutes. All right, that ain't bad. Y'all know sometimes some of y'all know if you've been here before, I can get long-winded, right? But I love this stuff. I love to share these experiences with our community and particularly answer any questions that you might have because folks just lying. They just, it's wild. People who have never been, people who have never been anywhere tell you how everywhere is, right? Like it's crazy. Um, you can read stuff in the papers, but you also got to remember that journalism, is biased. People have skewed opinions. They have hidden agendas that they're fostering. So it's just stuff we want to be concerned about. Hopefully, as an organization, Urban Intellectuals, we aim to build a positive brand reputation that you take me for my word, right? I'm not telling you that it's perfect. I'm telling you bring your bathroom accessories because they might not give you none, right? And this is at the Hilton. This is not like it's not like we stay in the Sheraton, right? We're not staying in like mediocre accommodations across the continent. It just seems like a cultural thing, right? Like I don't know, but another phrase that you often hear is "Leave America in America." Like leave that at it. Like you got to leave that over there. You are somewhere else to have a different experience. So like, let's make sure that we respect the people. We learn about the culture. The foods are delicious. I haven't been anywhere where I just was like, I'm not eating here, right? You're vegan, vegetarian, you're a pescatarian, you can eat, 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 eat. I am biased to Senegal. I gotta tell you. Maybe it's because the last country I was just in, maybe it got me biased that way, but I know I ain't never had no food that good, boy. It was amazing, man. I can't wait to get back. So I'm like attacking all the Senegalese restaurants around here. Like, man, I'm in it. I like it, boy. So that's good. Okay. Any questions? Any final thoughts? Any comments? Anybody got a travel joke? Oh no, no. All right. No. Dr. Nita, I think I'm funny. So oh, that's good. How does the food
You
compare to
just
here
mentioned that
or
yeah, to Africa to America. Because when I went to South Africa, I came back and went to a South African restaurant. I was like, no.
oh yeah, no, it's disappointing. They're not cooking with the same love or spices or something, it's not the same. But I didn't know. I had never been struck by a cuisine like this. Like, and yeah, I done ate over there for 10 days or something, and now I'm an expert. I'm coming back. I'm like, just doesn't have the same consistency. The flavors off. But generally on the continent, things are a bit more spicier. Particularly in West Africa, right? You would say no spice, it's gonna be some spice on it. It's like they don't understand, like, but flavoring is good, right? The foods are definitely fresher, which probably has a lot to do with the taste and everything. Again, particularly on the countries that are like on the ocean, right? Man, they're just pulling that food right out of the water, and it's just a different experience. Um, yeah, I love it. I love it. So, but yeah, the restaurant's not living up. They're not living up to the name. Yeah, they need grandma to come on in and give them the full recipe again or something. Because yeah, I've been bragging about it, and then like it's good, but it's like it ain't like amazing like I'm raving. And it's like, man, so if there's somebody here doing it right, I'm determined. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find me a Senegalese restaurant that's doing it right. But yeah, okay. Any other questions for me? Anything that hits your mind? Um, yeah, I am open. Yeah, I got a couple of minutes, so I got some more meetings to get into. So when you travel and then you get away from the business, you come back and it's like, man, there's so much to do. Even though, and we got a small team, so we just got to wear a lot of hats. But everybody's passionate about creating these experiences for y'all, creating the products, creating the outlets, everything that we're doing. And oh, Dr. Anita, wait till you see what's coming for the membership, right? Like, this is what we've been waiting for. So I had to get away for a minute. And I'm just talking to my coaches. Yeah, we ready now. We ready now. I'm super excited. It's just gonna get better. But of course, you're locked in. So that's what the important thing is. But yeah, so now it's time to go and have these experiences, right? Like, so we talk about the history, we learn about the culture, and then we go on these travel experiences, these Sankofa experiences to see, taste, and feel it for ourselves. When you're there, I don't want you to be shy, right? I want you to, oh yeah. Pack your pack your audacity, right? I'll say that because like if you get pulled out the dance, like go for it, right? Like just have the experience. I'm not a dancer. I know it looked crazy, and they gonna pull me out every time, right? Like so, I had to just get over myself, right, and have the experience and have the fun. But what I learned is it's not a matter of if you get the steps right or even if you get the beat right or any of that. It's your energy and your effort. And if they sense like you're just going for it, like they start cheering and like then maybe they just amping you up, right? But it's really more about energy and effort rather than the choreography, right? Like you could just start doing your own thing and just let your energy be felt, right? I don't want to blow it too much because you're gonna get taught about all the cultural movements and things, but it's really like an energy play. And that was something I had to get out of my head. I got two left feet, so it just is what it is, right? Like everybody ain't got. We not a monolith, right? Like all black folks can't dance, okay? um, but yeah, but it's fun, man. And then you go back and you think about the experience, and you're glad that you did it, right? Like walking with the lions. I want to say bring your audacity, but that might not be for everybody, right? When will you create a trip that goes from west to south with the 2 to 3 day gap? Um, that's a good question. Yeah, west to south. Yeah, because normally we're going east to west on those back to backs. But I'll look if you email Ashley at Sankofa Experiences, or yeah, Ashley at Sankofa Experiences, Brenda, she can work with you to see where's our closest one, or see if we can't move some things around to make that happen. That's great. How far out from the trips do the classes start? Well, there's always some communication going up, but then things start to pick up about 3 to 6 months out. Like you'll start to get more and more like granular, like, we're starting to handle the visa process, starting to talk about the packing, starting to talk about the culture trainings. So all of that'll be leading up. Yeah. And then there's Ashley's email address. So Ashley at Sankofa Experiences, because that will be a good one, right? Each of those regions are different, right? Each of the countries are different, right? But especially as you move from region to region, stuff is just different, right? But I love these experiences because as you start to go travel, eat with them, live and talk to the people, you start to humanize them, right? It's not just Africans. You start to learn the Wolof, right? You start to learn the Mende, the Timne. You start to learn the Zulu, who they are, their background. Now we can have a different level of conversation because I mentioned I was in Vegas, right? And I'll try to make this my last story. But driving in the cab driver was from Egypt, right? And he was a darker complexion guy, right? So I said, "Are you Nubian?" He could have jumped out of the vehicle. He was so excited that I knew. And then we started having a conversation because I've been there and talking about the area, the region. Man, this guy was just gushing, to talk about it and to share it. But everybody appreciates being humanized, right? I'm not just an African. I'm not just this, you're not just the black guy, right? Like you have a name, you have a people, y'all, you have a story, you have a culture, right? And it's just showing appreciate it. And it just changes you once you start having those experiences. And you just start to really realize how small the world is, right? Like as you're traveling around and you're meeting people. I'm a chatty Cathy, so you gotta, I be talking to folks. So and then especially if I can tie a experience to a travel experience, I know we're off and running with those conversations. Are there walking with the Lions tours in South Africa? Not in South Africa. If you're interested in that, that is a Senegalese activity. Senegal and the Gambia, we actually pet some crocodiles too. But in South Africa, they have the full safari experience that is amazing, right? So you get the winery experience, you get the South African um, safari experience. Like you could go in Senegal, you can go and see the safari. It ain't the same, right? It's more of a closed in cultured, nurtured environment where in South Africa you gonna be out there, right? So we ain't walking with them lions, right? We gonna stay in the vehicle and observe those lions. Then go have some wine, which we visit a black winery while we're there in South Africa. But it's just a beautiful experience. But yeah, we're not going, we're not going out there. Yeah, good question though. Good question though. Maybe in the future, but like we just haven't put that together with the itinerary, but I'm safety first, which is me out there with the light. Y'all just have no idea how out of character that was for me. I was in it though. I did it. The wife was like, "You look so comfortable out there." I was like, "Boy, on the inside." Because at some point you just realize ain't nothing you can do. You can't run. What you gonna do? Like you can't climb a tree. They climb trees. You're not gonna get to the gate faster than them. So you just like, well, it's in God's hands now, right? Like, but they are well trained, and I'm sure they have a solution if something went terribly wrong, right? But it was good. Oh, it was good. I'm excited for March South Africa trip. Oh yeah, I'm excited too. I'm excited too. I love to see y'all experiences. So make sure that you're sharing, the pictures, the videos, and talking about it. We definitely want to engage with all of that. So, all right. Any additional questions for me? Again, if you have any questions, you think of something when we get off of here, you can always email us, Ashley at sankofaexperiences.com. So Ashley at sankofaexperiences with an S.com, and she'll be sure to follow up if you, there you go. She dropped it in the comments. But yeah, so we'll make sure that we reach out to you and follow up and get your questions answered or get you booked on the trip that you're looking to attend. All right. Let me get my closeout up here. I appreciate y'all joining me this afternoon on a weird Wednesday, as opposed to our typical Tuesdays. We'll be back on Tuesday next week for our regularly scheduled program and dive in. If you have any topics that you want me to cover specifically on this, please, again, email Ashley at sankofaexperiences.com and let us know, and we'll put them in the queue. And hopefully we can continue to build and provide useful information to you during our Travel Talk show. All right, so I'm going to close out with our quick closing video. Greetings, I'm Freddie Taylor, CEO and founder of Urban Intellectuals, and we are behind the Sankofa Experiences. This is where Black history travel made easy is not just our mantra, it's a promise. Our mission? To reconnect you with your roots, your culture, and the history of the African diaspora. Now spanning across 10 African nations and the vibrant cultures of Colombia and Brazil, the Sankofa Experiences is expanding. We've crafted curated group travel experiences that do more than just visit. They immerse, they educate, they transform. From the historic forts of Ghana to the bustling markets of Nigeria, the serene beaches of the Gambia to the rugged mountains of Morocco, and beyond even South Africa and South America, each destination holds a special place and part of our story. Embarking on these Sankofa journeys means more than just exploring more landscapes. It means walking in the footsteps of the ancestors, embracing the diversity of our heritage and seeing the world through a lens of understanding and appreciation. It's a group experience where every traveler is a thread in the fabric of the shared narrative, making the journey safe, engaging, and unforgettable. So are you ready to embark on this adventure? To explore, to learn, to celebrate the legacy that connects us all. Join us in the Sankofa Experiences, proudly powered by Urban Intellectuals. The only thing missing is you. Yes, the only thing missing is you. So again, if you have any questions or comments, email Ashley at sankofaexperiences.com. I appreciate y'all joining me weekly on our Travel Talk shows, typically on Tuesdays. So I appreciate y'all joining me on Wednesday. I didn't want to, y'all, you know, I just love to connect with the community. So I didn't want to miss a week. But I thank y'all again for being here. Appreciate y'all. If you have any questions, reach out. Take care, and I'll see you Thursday. All right. Goodbye, everybody.